Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a skill that's, let's be honest, pretty crucial for just about everything. Building an argument that's so persuasive, it's practically unbeatable.
Really think about that. How often are you trying to get what you want using just your words? Whether you're trying to win a debate, pitch a project, or just convince your friends where to get dinner, the power to persuade is like a secret weapon. And the good news is, it's a weapon anyone can learn to wield.
And this is not some new idea. Not at all. People have been trying to figure this out for thousands of years. The Greek philosopher Aristotle literally wrote the book on it over 2 millennia ago. He called it the art of rhetoric, which is just a fancy way of saying the ability to spot and use every single tool of persuasion you have at your disposal.
Okay, so if the rulebook is that old, why is it still so tricky to get right? Well, that's the real challenge we're going to dig into, and it starts with a huge mental shift in how we think about what an argument even is.
See, a really knock-your-socks-off argument isn't something you just discover fully formed. It's not about just having the right opinion and yelling at the loudest. No, you have to think of yourself as a blacksmith, an artisan. A great argument has to be built, shaped, hammered out. It needs to be forged.
And here's the first step in that forging process. And it's going to sound a little backward. To make your argument stronger, you don't start by surrounding yourself with people who agree with you. You actually go out and find the smartest, strongest arguments against what you're saying. You need the heat from opposing views to make your own argument tough as steel.
Let's make this real. Take a big topic like the income gap. Here you've got 2 different takes. Argument 1 is all about individual action. I got a high-paying job and I donate a lot, it works. Argument 2, though, does something really interesting. It doesn't just say you're wrong. It reframes the entire problem.
So what makes that second argument so much more effective? It's a brilliant move. First, it acknowledges the other person's point. Yeah, donating is great. Then it finds common ground. Look, if we agree the goal is for everyone to be able to help, boom, right there it shifts the whole conversation from what one person can do to what we need to do as a society. This makes the person sound incredibly reasonable and smart, which makes their argument way more convincing.
All right, so once you've gathered your raw materials, including those really strong counter-arguments, it's time to open up the toolkit. Aristotle laid out 3 classic, timeless tools that every good argument forger needs. They are ethos, logos, and pathos.
First up, ethos. This is all about you. It's your credibility. It's the answer to the question, why should I even listen to you? You built ethos by showing you have good character, that you know your stuff, or that you share values with your audience. A classic example. When Winston Churchill spoke to the U.S. Congress during World War II, he didn't just launch into his requests. He first reminded them of his personal connection to America and his lifelong fight for democracy, the very things they cared about. He built a bridge of trust. That's ethos.
Next tool in the box, logic. This is your logic, your reason. It's the evidence, the facts, the examples, and just the plain old structure of your argument making sense. But it's more than just data. It's about how you use that data. A powerful example is Sojourner Truth's famous speech arguing for women's rights. She used her own life as evidence, listing all the hard farm labor she'd done, plowing, planting, gathering, and then asked if any man could do more. It was an absolutely devastating use of personal, undeniable logic.
And the third tool is pathos, the appeal to emotion. Now, this one can be the most powerful of all. It's about connecting to your audience's feelings, their hopes, their fears, their dreams. Just think about any car commercial. They don't just sell you on horsepower. They sell you the feeling of freedom, of power, of adventure. That's pure pathos. The best arguments, of course, weave all 3 of these together seamlessly.
Okay, so you've wrestled with opposing views, you've used your tools, you've got a first draft, you're done, right? Nope. Now comes the most important part of forging anything, revision. This is where you stick that argument back in the fire to burn off the impurities and hammer it into its final, strongest shape.
And revision is so much more than just fixing a few typos. The word itself tells you everything you need to know. Revise. It means to revision, to see your work with fresh eyes. This is where you get to organize, focus, and polish your argument until it really gleams.
To do it right, you gotta know there are 2 different kinds of revision. First, there's global revision. That's the big picture stuff. Does my argument actually make sense? Is this structure logical? Is it clear? Then you have local revision. That's the fine-tuning, fixing grammar, smoothing out awkward sentences, catching typos. Both are critical, but the order you do them in changes everything.
So here's the most efficient way to do it. Always go from big to small. You tackle those global, big-picture problems first. I mean, think about it. Why would you spend an hour making one paragraph sound absolutely perfect if you might just delete that entire section later? It makes no sense. So fix the structure first, then edit for flow. And only at the very end do you proofread for all those little mistakes.
When you follow that process, you take your work from just a rough draft and turn it into something truly dynamic. Now it's time for that final polish, the thing that connects all the pieces together and gives your argument this unstoppable forward motion.
Let's go back to our blacksmith metaphor. If your paragraphs are these big, strong plates of steel, then transition words are the rivets that hold the whole thing together. Words like however, therefore, in addition, they aren't just fluff. They are essential signposts for your audience, showing them exactly how one idea connects to the next. They make the whole thing feel solid.
Because at the end of the day, that's what a killer argument is. It's not just a list of facts. It's a machine that moves forward with purpose. Every single paragraph has a job to do. Every sentence works to support that main point. Everything is connected, everything is strong, and everything drives toward that one clear conclusion.
So persuasion really is a craft. Your words are your tools, your ideas are the clay or the metal, and by truly engaging with dissent, by mastering your toolkit of ethos, logos, and pathos, and by revising with a clear purpose, you can forge arguments that don't just make a point, they build something new. The only question left is, what are you going to build?